Alright, so this is a quick segue before we get to the actual giveaway that I had announced a couple weeks ago. When I first started the YouTube channel, one of the things I posted was a slideshow of the Battle of Leipzig, which is a demonstration game that I've done at Historicon probably 10 or 12 times over a period of about 15 years, starting in 2000. The last one I went to was 2019, after that COVID hit, and I don't know, I just never got back to it. But every time I did the battle, it got bigger. When I first started, I didn't have enough miniatures to represent the entire battlefield, so I did it on a 4x6 table that was basically put together just using stuff out of the game box. And it was probably at about 50% strength. So instead of the 2,800 odd figures you would need to represent the first day of Leipzig using LPA, I was probably fielding somewhere around, I don't know, 1,600 figures total. And I did a sort of a modified version of the battle. Each time I did it and went back, it got bigger. The battlefield changed as I did a new one and tried different techniques on how to represent the terrain. I kept painting more figures, so the armies got bigger, up to about 60-65% strength. And finally in 2019, I was a little over 75% strength for the first day of battle. Now when I stopped going in 19, I figured, well, this is a good opportunity. I can go ahead and expand the battle if I want to. I've been doing that little by little, and what I'm doing right now is finishing up the army so that I can refight Leipzig at 100% scale using LPA. And as I finish each army, I thought I'd do a quick video showing you what the army consists of. So what we have on the battlefield right now is the Army of Bohemia that was present on the first day of battle. So what we have from left to right, over on the far left we have a division of the advance guard. Now the Austrians didn't use the term corps officially. It appears in a lot of their correspondence, and the terminology they used means the same thing. But they use the terms Einteilung and Abteilung to represent a corps formation. The advance guard was an Einteilung of two divisions. It's kind of hard to figure out where they were during the battle because they're not mentioned specifically. Lots of times the advance guard would be broken up, separated as needed by the army commander to put those units where he needed them. So what I've done is I only have one of the divisions present and available. The other division, I'm assuming, is with the first corps, Colorado's corps, that wasn't available on the first day of battle. But the advance guard division that is available to the army commander consists of 3 brigades of light cavalry, a brigade of Landwehr infantry, which probably should be half Landwehr and half line, but I've kept them as Landwehr, and 2 brigades of light infantry. I might expand that out to 3 brigades by adding a 2nd Jaeger half brigade if I want to. There's also 2 batteries of artillery to support and a lieutenant, so that's the advance guard. Next to them, to the right, we have the Austrian 2nd Abteilung, or 2nd Corps, which is Mirveld's corps. It was the weakest of the army. It had taken substantial losses in detachments, so it got to the battlefield with only 5 brigades of line infantry and Landwehr infantry, and a half brigade of Grinzers as skirmishers. It has 2 brigades of light cavalry attached to it and 3 batteries of artillery. All of them are light foot artillery. And the command group consists of a corps commander and 2 lieutenants. One lieutenant is organic to the corps, but the 2nd lieutenant has been attached by the army commander. To the right of that is the larger 3rd Corps of Goulet. I'm probably going to butcher some of these names. I'm not a German speaker, so bear with me on that. But anyway, the 3rd Corps is a larger corps, much closer to full strength. It contains, in this particular iteration, it contains 8 brigades of line infantry, 2 half brigades of Grinzers as light infantry, and then it has 6 batteries of supporting artillery. 2 of those batteries are heavy 12-pounders, and 4 of them are light guns. And half of those light guns would be attached to individual brigades as brigade batteries. It also has 2 brigades of light cavalry in support, and it has a command group consisting of 1 corps commander and 3 lieutenants. Again, on this particular formation, It should only have 2 lieutenants, but it received an extra lieutenant from the Army commander. Finally, all the way to the right, we have the largest corps in the Army, which is Klenau's Corps, which contains 9 brigades of line infantry, 2 half brigades of Grinzers, 7 batteries of supporting artillery. That is 2 heavy batteries and 5 light. Again, half of the light batteries would be brigade batteries. And he has 5 brigades of cavalry supporting him, 3 light brigades that are organic, and 2 cuirassier brigades that were detached from the Army Reserve. His command group is a natural 3 lieutenants plus the general. And finally, up front, we have the reserve. The reserve consists of the Grenadier Brigade. In this case, it's 3 brigades of LPA brigades of Grenadiers and 5 brigades of line infantry. These are supported by 7 batteries of artillery. 3 of them are heavy 12-pounders and 4 of them are light guns. And again, these are half the light guns would be attached. The command group is 3 lieutenants and the general. And then in the back, we have part of the Cuirassier Corps, which originally consisted of 6 brigades, but as I mentioned earlier, 2 of those brigades have been detached and attached to Klenau's Corps. So instead, available to the reserve, there are 4 brigades of cuirassiers. In the middle, we have Schwarzenberg himself, the Army commander, who is the commander of the Austrian Wing of the Army of Bohemia as it fights in my demonstration game. The Prussians and Russians are separate. I consider them the Russian wing of the Army of Bohemia, and I'll get into those a little bit later as I finish those armies up. But anyway, I want to show you that. In the very back, along the back edge, you can see that there are a number of skirmisher stands. Now, the way LPA represents skirmishing assets within an army is by a combination of light infantry brigades or half brigades and skirmishers. In a points-based game, those you would raise just light infantry brigades, and then those would represent the entire skirmishing capability of the army. But in a historical battlefield, a historic order-based order of battle army, you would have to have the need for some individual skirmisher stands. Now, normally for the Austrians, only their line infantry commit or contribute to the skirmisher screen. So let's say on the left we've got Mirveld's Corps. He only has 4 brigades of line infantry. At a ratio of 1 figure out of every 12 that can be committed as skirmishers, that should give him 4 skirmish stands, or 4 skirmishing figures. Now you can see in the back he's actually got 2 stands with a total of 6 figures. There's 2 ways you can do that. You can do what I call the all or nothing. He's got 4 figures available. A skirmish stand is 3 figures. You could say, okay, he doesn't have enough to form more, so he's going to have 1 3-figure stand. But what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to give him 2 stands and mark 1 on each stand off so that it represents the 4 figures that he should have. Over a little bit further in the center, you have Goulay's Corps. Now they have 8 brigades of line infantry, so they would have 8 figures of skirmisher infantry available. And in this case, what I would do is I would give him 3 stands, with one of the stands with 1 figure marked off, so he would have 8 stands available. All the way to the right, in Klenau's Corps, he has 9 brigades of line infantry, each 12 figures, so he can field 9 light infantry stands or skirmisher figures in 3 stands, so that's just an automatic one. Now, there are 5 brigades of line infantry in the reserve, and they should be able to form a skirmish stand as well. They are never on the battlefield at the start of the battle, so I didn't paint up individual figures for them. By the time these guys get into the battle, if they're committed, there should be skirmish stands available that have been eliminated through combat. And the way this works is if you deploy a skirmish stand, you mark off 1 figure on each of the owning brigades, and that is marked off not as a casualty, but showing that it's committed to the skirmish stand. As skirmishers are eliminated, those mark-offs are replaced by casualty markers, and then you continue forward from there. But anyway, just a quick view. This is the Austrian Army, Battle of Leipzig. And I think I'm going to do the Russians next. That'll be in a week or so. I've got a few more cavalry brigades to finish up for them, and a whole buttload of Cossacks, which, I'll be honest, I really hate doing Cossacks because they don't really serve much purpose on the battlefield. I've yet to find very many. It's really hard to find an example in the war where they fought on the battlefield as regular cavalry and charged enemy troops or anything like that. In between the battles, they were great scouts and skirmishers. They were great for ambushes, really good at murder, rape, and pillage. That was their strong point. But as battlefield cavalry, they tended to be really difficult to use. So I've got about a whole bunch of stands that I would have to do. I've got to figure out how I'm going to do them. I'll probably end up painting a limited number of figures and then just spreading them out to represent them. But anyway, so this is the Austrian army, and I'll do the Russians next. I'll do a couple of close-ups of the different formations, tack on the end here so you can take a look at them. All right, thanks. All right, so here is a close-up of the 1st Division, or actually this is the 2nd Division of the Advance Guard Einteilung. It consists in the back of 3 brigades of Austrian Hussars. Coming forward, we've got a brigade of 12 figures of Austrian Landwehr. Again, that should probably be half Landwehr and half line, but I've chosen to represent it as entirely Landwehr. There are then 2 half brigades of light infantry. One are Grenzers and the other one are Jaegers. 2 supporting light artillery batteries, and the lieutenant who controls the division. Now, this formation cannot operate independently. It has to be attached to one of the corps, or it has to be split up amongst the corps depending on what the army commander wants to do. It's entirely up to him. So anyway, that's the advance guard. Alright, what we see here now is Mirveldt's 2nd Corps, or 2nd Abteilung. Again, it consists of 2 brigades of light cavalry in the back. That's 1 brigade of Chevalier or light dragoons. I paint them all in the green uniform, although there's some real debate as to whether they wore green or white. There's also a Hussar brigade. There are 4 brigades of line infantry on the flanks, and in the middle in the back there is a brigade of conscript infantry. Mirveldt does have a half brigade of Grenzers as his light infantry. He has 3 batteries of light artillery supporting his forces and a command group that consists of a corps commander and 2 lieutenants. In the back, you can probably see the 2 stands that would represent his skirmishers, although there would be just 2 figure stands instead of 3 by marking off one of the figures on each stand. Okay, now we're looking at Gulai's 3rd Abteilung, 3rd Corps. You see it has 2 brigades of light cavalry. Both of them are Chevalier. It has 8 brigades of line infantry and 2 half brigades of Grenzers. The supporting artillery is 2 heavy batteries, 12-pounders, and 4 batteries of light. It has a command group consisting of the corps commander and 3 lieutenants. And in the back you can see that he has 3 stands of skirmishers, although one of those stands, if deployed, would have to be a 2-figure stand, so 1 figure would be marked off. And then we're going to move over to the last of the main corps. Alright, so this is Klenau's 4th Corps. Now this is the one that actually was most heavily engaged in the battle. It's the largest corps. In the back you can see he has 5 brigades of cavalry. 3 of them are light cavalry and they are organic to his corps. There's a brigade of Chevalier and 2 of Hussars. And then there are 2 brigades of heavy cavalry cuirassiers that have been attached from the Army Reserve. He has 8 brigades of line infantry. 9 brigades of line infantry and 2 Grenzer brigades, half brigades, that are attached. And then he has 7 batteries of artillery in support, 2 heavy and 5 light, with a command group that consists of 3 lieutenants and a corps commander. In the back you see his 3 skirmisher stands, and because he has 9 brigades of line infantry, he could field up to 3 full stands of 3 figures each to represent his skirmishers. Finally, we're going to move to the reserve. Alright, so here's the reserve. It consists of 4 brigades of cuirassiers in the back. On the left, for the infantry, there are 3 brigades of grenadiers, which are rated as elite infantry, and 5 brigades of line infantry. As I mentioned, he could field 5 figures as skirmishers, but I didn't paint separate stands for them because I expect that by the time the reserve is engaged, there would be skirmish stands available that have been eliminated through combat. Up front, he has 7 batteries of supporting artillery. 3 of those are heavy batteries and 4 are foot batteries, light foot batteries. And he has a command group consisting of a corps commander and 3 lieutenants. One thing about the artillery for the Austrians, Austrians did have cavalry batteries that were supposed to support the cavalry formations. They did not have as much mobility because of the way their troops were mounted. They weren't all given individual horses. Instead, a large number of them had to ride on the limbers or on the trail of the guns, so they were not nearly as mobile as regular horse artillery. And I've made the decision that there is no separate horse artillery for the Austrian army. You can still attach a light battery to a cavalry formation or use them to support, but their slower speed is going to slow down the formation to the speed of the battery. Anyway, that's just that's my convention that I use in the rules. Other rules use different ones. Do whatever you think is best. And then finally, in the middle, back in the back there, you see Schwarzenberg's command stand. It's 3 figures consisting of Schwarzenberg himself on the white horse, an escort with the flag, and then an aide-de-camp who's dressed in a hussar uniform. All right, so that's the Austrian Army, Battle of Leipzig, first day.